I'm in downtown Austin today. It's about 2 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon, 85 degrees. Pretty nice out. Got a breeze blowing. I have a GoPro 7 with a wind slayer foam cover over it. And so far I've been happy with the sound I've been getting out of it. Hopefully it works out today too. Thought I'd take you over and show you around a little bit at the river / lake. Take you over to Doug Salm Hill. It's a nice view of downtown. That's the library right in front of us. This used to be an old power plant here. They tore it down and then revitalized this whole area, cleaned it all up. That's part of why that lake was built, or a big part of why, was as a cooling pond for the power plant. And it was built in like 1960. The library. And this is Shoal Creek right here. And this is the Ann and Roy Butler hike and bike trails around Lady Bird Lake. It's a good time of day to come down here. It's in the morning and after about 5, it's a lot of people around. But right now, I pretty much have it to myself. Let's see, how do I get in here? I have to go up a little bit and come around the other side. There's a corkscrew that takes you up. It's nice and cool in here. Some city views. This is the Pflueger Pedestrian Bridge. They built this maybe 10-15 years ago. It's a way to help people get across without having to go across the busy bridges with the cars. I'm going to come back this way. I'll stop and give you a view both directions. I thought we'd go down to Auditorium Shores and the Doug Salm Hill first. I've seen this place change a lot in the last 30 years. It's really cleaned itself up and beautified. Back in the day, at one point, it kind of turned into a swamp. But not now. You got this little corral thing so that you can't go whizzing across the street. That's good. It gives you a little chance to see when the cars are coming. You can kind of slow down and don't have to stop and put your foot down. This was all flat land. They built this little hill when they redid the property about 20 years ago. Oh, they worked on the water park a little bit. At least it's 2 feet tall and there's a whole bunch of jets. That thing used to shoot about 10 feet up. It had nice colored lights at night that would change and all that. And they just didn't maintain it. But now it's working a little bit better than it was. Austin went into a drought, and that kind of changed everything as far as water fountains and those kind of things. They backed off on a lot of it, which we only have a couple of fountains in the whole city. And now it's down to like half of that. They don't let the water shoot as high. They don't run them as often. Like a lot of Texas cities, it really relies on these lakes that are all, about 90% of the lakes, at least in Texas, are man-made. And they're reservoirs for city drinking water. There's the Ginga building. I like it. So it's a nice view up here. Not real tall, but gets us up a little bit. And then at the top, I'll stand up on top of it. Maybe you can see down. They have in stone a little drawing of the state of Texas. You can kind of see over here. Yeah, I'll get off my bike. There's Austin, kind of in the middle of the state. Down here, that would be where Corpus Christi is. I like to go down there to the coast. But look how far it is way over to El Paso. It's 580 miles away from here. Dallas is 200 miles. Houston's 165 miles. And Amarillo is 530 miles. And I hear a train coming now. Too bad we're not by the tracks. And there's the Ginga building. Can't see the Frost Tower over there too well. It's kind of like right in the center of the lower one now. But that looks nice. It looks like it's covered in ice at the top. I guess to go along with the Frost name. And show you my bike. That's a Dual Sport Ultra from M2S Bikes. That's a Bafang 750. And it's like one of the top of the line out of the Asian market. Has all the Asian components, a lot of stuff from Taiwan, Japan. The motor in the frame are Pflueger. That's from China. But it's been real good so far. I have about 600 miles on it. I've had no issues. I changed it came with knobbies originally. I put some Schwab AX Moto X street tires onto it. Made it a lot smoother on the road. But I thought we'd take you for a little ride up Shoal Creek, which you see the Ginga building. Shoal Creek is just a little bit to the right of that. It actually kind of runs in front of it. You kind of see that little arch, cream-colored arch over there. That's the bridge that runs over Shoal Creek. Well, let's go for a ride and see what we can find. I know there's some art installations up there. Might stop, take a look at. On the weekend, this place just gets all kinds of people. But in the middle of the week, it's nice and open. And that's when I'd rather ride. I don't want to be zigging and zagging with people all the time. That's where the symphony plays at right there. Palmer Auditorium. They also have things like car shows and stuff there too. And this is down where they shoot the fireworks off at 4th of July. Yeah, the Shoal Creek Trail is nice. It goes down underneath a bunch of bridges, and it winds through the inner city. Yeah, so that new Ginga building, that's the tallest so far in Austin. I think that's either 67 or 69 stories tall. And it has a couple other ones that are about to break ground that are going to be even taller. But the thing we don't have here is a nice tall building that has an observation deck on it. So hopefully one of the new taller ones will do that. The Ginga is a residential tower. Thank you. Good sized train. A lot of the trains that come through here are about a mile long. That's the main route up from San Antonio. A lot of stuff's coming up from Mexico. See a lot of truck frames and stuff like that. And then you see a lot of cement and gravel going in the other direction. Back on the Pflueger Bridge here. Stop up here for a second just so you can see. So I'm looking to the east right now. This is the Colorado River. But it's the Texas Colorado River. They call it the Colorado River because it starts in Colorado City, Texas, which is about 300 miles northwest of here. And now over here is to the west. And you can see this is the beginning of the hill country. Behind me it all goes down to the flatlands, and to the west it goes into the hill country where the hills are maybe 1 to 2,000 feet tall would be a tall one. And they're kind of rolling hills. A lot of bike teams come down here in the wintertime to train. So this is something I just don't understand. Why would you put wood on these walls? I mean, it looks okay. I think it's probably ebike, but it's something you got to maintain. Look at all that wood. That's a lot of trees. Should have been some kind of metal, something. I guess they wanted it solid so people wouldn't throw stuff over or see the cars or something. That's why it's kind of tall. It's probably 5 feet tall. Doesn't look that way, maybe because of where I have the camera. Well, we're coming to the first art installation I was going to show you today. It's called the Open Room. And basically that's just what it is. It looks like a kind of a room in a house, like a dining room, but it's just surrounded by trees. And there's a long table on it. But it's nice and cool here. Beautiful dog.
How are you?
Great. So there's a view of it, and people come down and have little parties here. It's nice at night when the lights come on, but it's kind of like a little paradise in the middle of the city, surrounded by the trees. Of course, you get to hear the cars and all that, but you know, it's just one of those things. You get used to that kind of atmosphere and it's no big deal. They call this Electric Avenue. That's because this is where the power plant used to be. You can kind of see parts of it still over there in this City Austin power plant. We're going to go right in front of it here in a minute. But then they had big tanks, you know, for the diesel fuel that it used to run on. You got rid of all that stuff. Then they dug one of the biggest holes in Austin's history when they were putting in the building behind it, because they dug down deep so they could put in the parking underneath of it. I actually have a video of that on YouTube. Let some of these cars get out of my way. And follow this truck. The trail's kind of disconnected right now because of the building that they're putting in. And I'll go up here and jump on. Trader Joe's. And I got a little bit of that wind tunnel effect going on right now with these big buildings. And now we're entering down into Shoal Creek. This used to flood really bad, so they just put all this new concrete walls and stuff down in here. Long time ago, that was back in the early 80s, there was this giant flood, and it washed all the cars off this dealership, which was about 2 blocks north of here. And they all came down and they blocked underneath this bridge, and then backed all the water up behind it. It's like 10 feet deep in the city streets. You can see right there, I don't know if you can see it, to the side, there's a bunch of trees and stuff down there. They need to clean it all out for the next rain. But I like the little tunnels, and I like how it, you know, meanders around. It's not straight lines. Yeah, and so that's the downside. This is where a lot of bums like to hang out. There's actually fish in here, and there's actually people that fish for them. I don't know if they keep them or not, but I wouldn't eat anything that comes out of here. This water all came actually from up near my house. This is where the beginning of it is, and it's this runoff, and this just flushes down to the well, the camera just auto shut off. I think probably because of this little fur thing, it made it too hot with it being in the sun and all that. So I had to start again, and we'll continue along. I'm up around 12th Street now. I wanted to take you up and show you these cool little huts that they made, if they're still there. We're about to come up to Pease Park. That's where they have the Eeyore's birthday party every year. That's part of the Keeping Austin Weird tradition. It's always a pretty wild party. I went to some of the first ones way back in the 70s. And they would have a little Eeyore there, the donkey, and you could tell they gave him some drugs because he'd be mellow as could be, just kind of staggering. Didn't want him to get excited with all the crowds. There's a big skate park right there to my right. It's all concrete skate park. And then a little ways back, there was one of those BMX dirt tracks. And this is the big high school football field here. A few of the different high schools around town use that one. And we're coming up on 15th Street. They've been working really hard on putting a lot more bike infrastructure in like this that kind of bypasses all the streets and be able to ride around the whole city and not mess with the cars. They're still not the friendliest to bicycles here in Texas. Pickup trucks rule the day. Oh, let me take this little bridge. When I first got here, in the last 20 years, there's been a big influx of people from California because all the high tech, and because, well, when it first started, the property values were much cheaper here, but they're not that much cheaper now. Everything's gone up because of all the people that came in. But they don't have a state income tax in Texas, so cost of living's a lot less than California. I just wish Austin was a little bit closer to the ocean. It's about 2.5 hours for me to get down to the coast. If that was 1 hour, then I'd go a lot more. But I want to go down Port Aransas soon, eat some shrimp. That's the big thing down here. They have really good shrimp. But, you know, the water's most of the time is pretty brown because it's coming out of the Mississippi River and swirling with the mud by Houston before it gets down here. And I grew up on Cape Cod, about 300 yards from the ocean, and the water was just crystal clear. Crystal clear, but cold. It was only about 2 months out of the year that you could swim it, or that you'd really want to, without a wetsuit. But that was on the Cape Cod Bay side. Then the south side of the Cape was Nantucket Sound, which was actually part of the Gulf Stream. So that was warmer. It was kind of green looking water. And then you had the Atlantic out by Chatham, and that's where the great whites now are all coming in trying to eat this, the seals there, and every now and then they're biting a human instead. I haven't heard of them eating a whole human. They just take one bite, but that's enough to do the damage to kill someone. These things are 18, 20 feet long. I remember when Jaws first came out, they filmed a lot of that on Martha's Vineyard, which is about 20 miles away from my house. And that was a little freaky, going swimming in the ocean after that. So here are these little huts I was talking about. Let's go see if there's some information about them. Patrick Doherty, born in 1945. Yippee-ki-yay, I guess he died in 2018. But I'll get off the bike and go walk into them so you can see what's going on. Turn the bike off. They're all just weaved together. Really nice. I don't know if that has, those little angles to them. I don't know if that was built into them in the beginning, or they've been here so long and the winds kind of shifted them a little bit. But either way, it took a while to do all this. And we're getting up near the end of the path, I think. There was a landslide that blocked off the trail. But we might as well go up to where that happens. Or where they block the trail anyway. I don't think we'll get to see the landslide. But in my other video I have of Shoal Creek Boulevard. See, this goes up and then meets at the bottom of Shoal Creek Boulevard. And the landslide's blocking that from happening right now. You still do it. You have to get up onto Lamar and ride the sidewalk. And it's a good sidewalk. There's not people walking on it. But still, you know, you're up there with the cars. Yeah, there's the gate. So I'll turn around, head back down to the city. It's been probably long enough video anyways.